born in London in 1960, so that's about 52 years ago. I studied art much later in life when I was 30, so it took me quite a while to get to that point. In fact, I was on course to either be a doctor or a teacher, and I didn't follow either of those directions, but I came to Edinburgh to work with people with learning disabilities. And it was there, actually working at a place called Garvold, that I was sort of promoted to a position of administrator, manager, and at that point I was asking myself, what do I really want to do? I decided I didn't want to be a manager in a centre for people with learning disabilities, but I wanted to do art. In fact, at that point I was thinking art therapy. So I went and studied at Edinburgh College of Art. It's a slightly longer story, but I ended up at Edinburgh College of Art. I mean, a lot of my work, the work that's in the collection of art and healthcare, is children in a swimming pool. And when I painted those paintings, I didn't actually have children. Since then I've had children, and many of my paintings are of my children. So artists like Joan Eardley, Scottish artists like Joan Eardley, who painted children, and McTaggart are artists that I often look at. McTaggart's a kind of Scottish impressionist, and my work is quite impressionistic, so it's another kind of echo of what I like to do. The aim for these paintings was to make sure that the subject was moving, and my old technique that had killed all the oil paintings I'd done at Art College, of spending 8 hours a day working very hard on them, wasn't going to work. So I started to explore other ways of working, and one of the key things I did was I started to paint with a roller, a printmaker's roller. And I would apply paint with this, and I would often prepare the surface of the paintings with collage, so that I was applying paint onto a very textured surface. And that, together with the subject, as I say, the figures were moving and the water was moving, meant actually was the way through for me to achieve paintings that had a lot more life in them, where the paint was alive as well as the figures. Is it possible that by looking at a painting you can feel better, or you can feel well? And I know certainly from my experience of teaching in different situations, teaching people to draw and paint, facilitating people drawing and painting, I know from that experience that to paint, maybe more particularly to draw, I think drawing's less complicated, to help someone, to have the experience of drawing with a bit of guidance, a bit of encouragement, actually I think does make you feel better. I think the job of the artist, and people have different opinions on this, but as far as I'm concerned, the role of the artist, the writer, the composer, is to in some way help people actually to feel things, not necessarily to feel better or to feel worse, but to kind of give them an experience that enables them to think or feel a little bit more profoundly. I do think it is possible to look at certain images and actually have your dilemmas, your questions, if not answered, then at least addressed.